Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to be with all of you. I think I'll start with one beautiful, beautiful verse. Um, because this Ekadashi is falling so incredibly close to Gaur Purnima, what would an Ekadashi lecture be without speaking about the golden avatar? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat has given such a beautiful account of the pastimes of our wonderful, magnanimous, munificent, magnificent golden avatar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I want to start with just one verse from the Mangalacharna, the way Chaitanya Bhagavat begins. Ajanulambito bhujo kanakavadato sankirtane kapitaro kamalaya Vishwambara Dvijavara Yugadharmapala Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, whose arms extend down to their knees, who have complexions like molten gold, and who inaugurated the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Their eyes resemble the petals of a lotus flower. They are the maintainers of the living entities, the best of the Brahmanas, the protectors of religious principles for this age, the benefactors of the universe, and the most merciful of all incarnations. So we have Gaur Purnima arriving. We have Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu willing to take up divine residence in our lives. But what does this mean for us? This means that we now have the unprecedented good fortune to give our hearts to this golden avatar. And firstly, who is this golden avatar? Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat described that although he is Krishna himself, he is also the combined form of the love of Sri Radha and Govinda. Gaur Govinda Maharaj would emphatically state that we would know that Radha Krishna's presence was truly manifest in a temple when they had Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as well. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the complete reservoir of concentrated love for Krishna. It is said that Sri Krishna said within Sri Bhagavad Gita, he gave the instruction, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, we've heard it, Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, abandon all varieties of religion, simply surrender unto me. Simply. Simple. And the process seemed simple. But Krishna is not one to leave anything up to chance. And that's what I like about Krishna. Krishna does not just say, oh, you should surrender, and I'm not going to give you any pointers on what that looks like. As it stands, he was telling Arjuna, you should surrender, you should fight on this battlefield. And now I'm in it with you. Let me explain to you what that surrender might look like. Let me explain to you the workings of the universe. Oh, friend, let me explain to you even all of my own energies. So Shri Krishna thought, I've told all of these living entities, just abandon everything and surrender unto me. But what in the world does that look like? I can't leave them floundering helplessly. This is not the kind of Lord that we have. He doesn't leave us stranded with no blueprint, no guidebook, no handbook, no manual. Sometimes we think life should come with a manual. Luckily, Bhakti comes with many, many manuals. So we have a handbook, we have a blueprint. And so Krishna says, I cannot just leave them stranded without an idea of what such complete and soulful surrender should look like. I have to fix it. And so he imbibes the mood of Srimati Radharani, one who is worshipping Krishna and who has surrendered the most, the one whose love bewilders even Krishna himself. The nectar of devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says that the amazing thing about bhakti The amazing thing about love for Krishna is that not only does it clear away the sins of present lives, past lives, any future activity, not only does it clear away the miseries of all conditioned souls, but it attracts the heart of the Supreme Person himself. This is something that is so difficult to even begin to comprehend. What do you give the person who not only has everything, but has given everyone everything? What do you give to the person who is the source of everything? What can we give? And we've spoken about this before. Gaur Govinda Maharaj rightly says that in order to understand oneself or see oneself, you need the help of a mirror or an iPhone with a front-facing camera. But you need some reflective device. It's not so easy just to see yourself, right? You need to look at the reflection. And so Gaur Govinda Maharaj says that this bhakti is awakening and uncovering the mirror of the heart. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "Glory to the chanting of Sri Krishna's holy name, which cleanses the mirror of the heart." Why is there such an emphasis on the mirror of the heart? Because that mirror, the mirror of the heart of the devotee, is where Krishna begins to see himself. Krishna also desires to use a mirror to see himself. He desires to use the mirror of the heart to see the love that is possessed by the devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam and so many other places say that Krishna's beauty is not simply within Krishna. It's actually, and they say beauty is within the eye of the beholder. In this case, Krishna's beauty is actually within the beholder. It is within the heart of the devotee. And to the extent of the love we have, to that extent we see Krishna more and more and more beautifully. Krishna also desires, let me see what I look like. Let me see what I feel like to my people, my devotees. And so he uses the mirror of the heart, but they say the best mirror, the most shining and reflective mirror, the most jewel-like mirror is the heart of Srimati Radharani. So Krishna, being completely entranced and enamored by the love that he is seeing there, by the way that she sees him, he thinks, oh no, everyone should get a chance to witness this. And so Krishna is celebrated as a thief. He is Makan Chor Govinda. He's a butter thief. He's a heart thief. He's also a thief of love. And so he peers into the mirror of Srimati Radharani's heart. And he sees so much incredible, overwhelming, overpowering love is stored there. And what does a thief do? He steals it. He plunders her heart of all of that love, taking it upon himself. So much so that he even begins to take on her golden complexion. And thus he is known as Gauranga, one of golden limbs, golden complexioned one. Gaura Chandra, a full golden moon of auspiciousness. Gaura Sundar, the brilliantly, beautifully, splendidly colored golden one. So he takes on her love. He takes on her bodily coloring. And then what does he do with all of that love? All of that love makes him incessantly chant the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But it's not just for him. He still remembers that originally what he wanted was for everyone to experience this love. What he wanted was for everyone to have a blueprint for surrender. So then he takes all of that love and he distributes it freely. Man, woman, doesn't matter. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, doesn't matter. Grihasta, Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, Sannyas, it doesn't matter. picture of health or leper, doesn't matter. He then gives Krishna Prema, the most wondrous thing in all of creation, to anyone and everyone, not even considering whether they are qualified or not, which country they come from, doesn't matter. Nothing matters. All that matters is if he sees even a tinge of a hint of a reflection of maybe some small amount of faith within the heart. That's it. Not even full faith, just a reflection of the faith. If he even sees a hint of a tear within someone's eye as they see him, he gives them that love freely. So, this is our Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is our Sri Krishna Chaitanya, whose very name can inspire within the heart the awakening of love of God, which is something that we all want. We all want to love and be loved. I think this life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that pursuit of happiness part that they don't tell you what that is, I've always had a problem with that. Like, how do you tell me that I have the right to pursue my happiness, but I have no idea what that happiness is? And I think it has a lot to do with loving and being loved. Seeing and being seen, feeling valued and valuing others. Here we have the most wonderful opportunity to love and be loved by the Supreme Person. To see and be seen by the Supreme Person. To value and be valued by the Supreme Person. With no obstacles in our path. Because now we don't have to do anything extra. All we have to do is give our hearts to the golden avatar. Someone was recently asking me, how are we supposed to practice bhakti and balance our lives outside? One of the keys to this balance is to remember that there doesn't have to be a life outside. Shri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, whatever austerities you perform even, like fasting on Ekadashi, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering unto me. Shri Krishna doesn't say, give up your job, give up your life, give up your house, go move to the forest, meditate on me for thousands of years, and then maybe. No, he says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever charity you give, whatever austerities you perform, there does not have to be a disconnect between our material lives and our spiritual lives. Because that separation is simply a little bit of an illusion. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that this material creation is but 1/4 of the entirety of the creation that Sri Krishna has manifested. The other 3/4 of that creation are not material creation. It's the spiritual abode. And the difference, the distance between that material creation and the spiritual abode is like peering across a veil only. That's it. It's actually not such a far distance. I've sort of started to realize that the distance between my spiritual life and my material life is the distance from the head to the heart. My material life is happening all up here. My spiritual life is happening over here. And I want to somehow bridge the gap between the two. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu helps us. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives such practical examples of how you can just offer your heart in whatever condition it is, however you are. Shri Krishna will come and meet you where you are. Shri Krishna will come and greet you exactly where you are. He will relate to you where you are and where you can understand him. in the way exactly that your heart needs to be understood. In this connection, I'll see if we can go through a few pastimes from the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These are early pastimes, and so this first has to do with Sri Chaitanya as a small boy. One day, it is described within Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat that Jagannath Mishra, the Brahminical father of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, would say to his child, "O Nimai," and they would call him Nimai because he was born under a neem tree. And Nimai, born under a neem tree, was supposed to bring in all auspiciousness and dispel inauspiciousness. His mother, Sachimata, had lost several children before he was born. And so they hoped that naming the child Nimai would protect him and would dispel all inauspiciousness. So they would call, "O Nimai, please bring me a book from inside the house." Nimai would nod in assent, "No problem," and would go trotting off to bring his father a book. As Nimai went trotting off, what his parents heard were the sound of tinkling ankle bells. Can we imagine the beautiful sound of tinkling anklets? Have you ever been somewhere and you hear anklets, you hear just, and you're looking around wondering like what's happening? Or a better example, have you ever been in a crowded city like New York and you hear a truck go by and the truck blows its horn, but to you it sounds like the blowing of a conch shell? And you think, I'm in New York, or I'm in whatever city I'm in. I'm not at all near a temple. How is it that I'm hearing the blowing of a conch shell? But our minds tend to be sometimes, luckily, hopefully, steeped in our devotional lives, so that the separation is not so great anymore. So the parents of Nimai heard the tinkling of anklets, and they wondered, where is this coming from? They looked at each other. We haven't put any anklets on our child. Where is this tinkling coming from? They thought, it's our minds, no problem. And so they found themselves a little bit speechless by this happening. And then Nimai would come in, and he would smile at both of them, and they would forget their bewilderment, and he would hand his father the book, and he would go off to play. When they would look and walk into the room where Nimai was playing, Jagannath Mishra would immediately start to exclaim, "We are blessed, we are blessed. Oh Shachi, we are blessed. Oh Mother of Vishwarup, we are so blessed." And she would come running to see what's happened. What good fortune is making you cry out in this way? And they would look. And on the floor, in the dust, not only would they hear those tinkling anklets, but they would see footprints in the dust in their home, which was not unusual. But what was unusual was that the footprints would hold the symbols of a lightning bolt, an elephant goad, a flag, auspicious divine symbols. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have ever really wondered, but I've often wondered, what does that look like? In the practical application, I understand what the pictures tell me, but what does that look like? You know, sometimes you see the lines on a hand, and every hand has different lines and an assortment of different ones, but you kind of know what that looks like already, right? And then sometimes they'll show you, oh, this star in the middle of your palm means something, whatever, and then something else means something, and then there's a curvature that means something else, and I'm looking and I'm like, okay, I guess I can see a star, I suppose. I want to know, really truly, what this looks like, because if the footprints of my Lord were to somehow grace my home, my life, my heart, would I even know what they look like? Or would I think that they just look like regular footprints? But Chachimata and Jagannath Mishra was so fortunate that they were able to understand that these are not normal footprints. They are not normal at all. Did they think they came from their child? Absolutely not. Jagannath Mishra said, this must be the work of our Sri Damodar Shalagram Shila. They would worship a sacred Shila every day. And so they thought, our Damodar has been dancing around our home. This must be the source of the anklets sound that we were hearing and the source of the footprints that we were seeing. This is all because of our Shalagram. And he would tell Sachi, make some wonderful fried rice with ghee and all kinds of wonderful preparations. Tomorrow, I'll give a grand bathing ceremony to our Shalagram Shila. We'll celebrate this wonderful occasion. How many times in our lives have we been blessed with good fortune and thought, let me celebrate by sponsoring something for God. Let me celebrate by arranging a program for God. Let me celebrate with all of the devotees and with my Supreme Lord. It's so simple. We don't have to change and upend our lives. We just have to add Krishna. It's like a magic formula. And we're talking about laws of bhakti and laws of physics, and we have all kinds of equations, and you see something, you see a packet of food, it's like, just add water. It's really simple. Everybody loves those recipes where you don't have to do anything, you just add the water, it's already pre-made. Here, everything is pre-made. Just add Krishna, no problem. It's like magic. So we don't have to do anything different. We don't have to change our entire lives or our lifestyles, even though it may feel like that at first. When we come into bhakti, it may be a complete change from the life that we were previously living. But we don't actually have to change that much. We simply add Krishna. And in adding Krishna, our lives begin to transform. And then we find that we want to add more and more Krishna. The more Krishna we add, the more Krishna we want. So, they decided to celebrate their good fortune by performing an elaborate and ornate Abhishek ceremony, a bathing and puja ceremony for their Shalagram. And they did not attribute that incident to their son, because to them, he's just their son. As is evidenced by the very next pastime. Once, there was a traveling mendicant. And they say that this traveling mendicant was always steeped in singing the glories of Lord Krishna, and he was always deep in meditation on Govinda Dev. He was a servant of Gopal, and he would travel with a little Bal Gopal and a Shalagram Shila hanging around his neck as an ornament. And he would worship both Bal Gopal and Shalagram. And so, this mendicant came wandering, singing to the house of Jagannath Mishra. And I can always imagine this mendicant, looking as mendicants do, a little interesting, very, very eccentric, but with a beautiful, sweetly singing voice. Hare Murari Madhukaitavari Gopala Govinda Mukunda Shori Gopala Govinda Mukunda Shori. And there are so many mendicants who would go walking and singing through all of Bengal. So this mendicant arrived at the house of Jagannath Mishra. Jagannath Mishra saw this mendicant and thought, my goodness, what an effulgent Brahmin mendicant. He invited him to his house. Please, we would feel so fortunate if you would come and perform your daily worship just for one day here today. Give us the great fortune of being your servants just for this one day. This is Vaishnav culture. How often do you think, wow, there's a person. Let me just invite them to my home. Usually, I know as New Yorkers, we try to keep people out of our homes. But the Vaishnav culture is that they are so dependent on Krishna and so ready to serve all of the other devotees of Krishna that they're eagerly welcoming others into their homes. So they've invited this Brahmin into their home. They say, please worship your deity. Please accept our service somehow. Make our grihastha lives fortunate just by gracing it with your presence. And so the role of grihasthas and householders, the role of those who have jobs and all, is to facilitate the others, to help facilitate the devotional service of others. And this is how we can dedicate our lives easily, painlessly, to Krishna, even while maintaining jobs, duties, all kinds of responsibilities and obligations. All we have to do is simply constantly try to endeavor to facilitate the Krishna consciousness of others. So the mendicant sat down. He said, I simply do a very light puja to my deities. I cook them whatever I can. And if I get nothing, I cook nothing, no problem. But I take only what has been offered to my Gopal deity and to my Shalagram. And so they said, please, we'll provide everything. They cleaned the kitchen. They covered it over with fresh cow dung and all. It was almost like a new kitchen, no problem. They brought all the ingredients for cooking. And the Brahmin cooked, and he made nice rice for his deity, and then he sat down, and he arranged all of the arti paraphernalia, all of the puja paraphernalia, and sometimes it can be a little extensive. But he arranged it all for his deity, and then he sat chanting the Gopal mantra, calling to his beloved deity. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat states that the Lord is the indwelling supersoul of everyone. Yes. And so Nimai, being the Supreme Person, was also the indwelling supersoul of everyone, knowing the hearts of everyone. Nimai would hear this sincere calling, with this Brahmin chanting the Gopal mantra with all his heart, just inviting the Lord to eat. Nimai thought, how can I refuse him? And so little Nimai went walking, looked at the Brahmin, who had his eyes closed in deep meditation, looked at the Gopal deity, and looked at all the plate of the prasad. And he reached his little hand in with his reddish palms, picked up a palmful of rice, and began eating it, happily. The Brahmin, sensing some disturbance, opened his eyes out of his meditation and saw this child, Nimai, eating the rice that he was trying to offer to the Supreme Lord. He looked at the child, and the child did something extraordinary. He smiled at him, as though this was an everyday occurrence. The Brahmin said, hi, what's happening? Oh no, alas, I was trying to offer something to the deities, to the Lord, and now this child has come and spoiled the offering. Hearing such a commotion, Jagannath Mishra arrives, Sachimata arrives, all of the people in the house arrive, and they see the child happily eating rice that was supposed to be Krishna's. Nimai then goes skipping off. Jagannath Mishra is horrified. And it's cute when it's God. But if it were any other child, I was at the temple once. There was a child that was very boisterous. And the child had climbed up onto the stand that normally Tulsi is put on. And everybody thought, what's happening? And then the child stood up on that stand. And so then the child was kind of in height with the murti of Srila Prabhupada at the back of the temple. Then they told the child, get down. The child said, okay. The child got down and then looked around and thought, and then climbed up on the bottom of the Vyasasana, climbed up further on the Vyasasana, climbed up further onto Srila Prabhupada's Vyasasana, and sat on Srila Prabhupada's lap, the murti of Srila Prabhupada. Everyone was horrified. I can only imagine that Jagannath Mishra's horrification was 10 million times the horrification that we all felt seeing a child smilingly sitting in the lap of the Srila Prabhupada murti. Everyone was thinking, oh no, what's happening? And the child was smiling. The mother had to come and get the child and give the child a talking to, and everybody was worried. Everybody's fixing Srila Prabhupada's clothes and all these things. Jagannath Mishra, he could do nothing but hang his head in his hands and hold it. He was horrified at the behavior of his restless child. So now, like I said, we think it's cute when it's God. But what happens when it's not? We would all feel a little bit. There's this trepidation that you feel in the heart of a parent. That is, oh dear God, please don't let my child mess anything up. If anyone has ever been with parents that have children, and you see a guru comes to the house, sannyasi comes, you just want the child to sit quietly and maybe do nothing. If they do something, then you start praying as a parent, please let my child be like Prahlad Maharaj and spout philosophical, all kinds of philosophical endearments. Please just let my child know all of the verses in this one moment. Please just don't let my child embarrass me in front of my entire community and entire spiritual elders. And now Jagannath Mishra is reaping all of that. He jumps up, he wants to eat it, he gets a stick to beat the child. Everyone is stopping him. Oh, Mishra, wait, 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 wait. Even the Brahmin jumps up, wait. This is not necessary. He's a small boy. He doesn't even have clothes on yet, which means that he can't possibly know right from wrong. It's all right. I don't take any offense. It's okay. Jagannath Mishra says, please cook again, please. Brahman says, it's okay. Maybe Gopal just does not want me to eat rice this day. Bring whatever fruits and roots are within your home and I can eat just that. This Brahmin was ready, willingly, to take on an Ekadashi fast that day. Maybe I just don't have grains this day. Jagannath Mishra said, no, 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 please, please, please cook again. This is all right. They go through the entire situation again. They clean the kitchen. They redo the entire kitchen. Bring all the ingredients. The Brahmin cooks, sets up the paraphernalia, goes to offer it, chants the Gopal mantra again with love and devotion. This time, they say, "Oh Sachi, take the child with you to a neighbor's home. This child is too restless." She's all right. She takes the child in her arms, takes the child to a neighbor's home. At the neighbor's home, they all sit. There's so many ladies that come. And they all sit with Nimai. And Nimai casts his glance, rolling and roving over every person. Like a butterfly, wherever that glance lands, there is so much love and joy within the heart. Who can ever imagine catching the glance of little Nimai? Eyes long like lotus petals, almost reaching to his ears, with a top knot clustered of dark curly hair. Beautiful pearls. He doesn't even have clothes on, just a waist belt with dangling bells. He's just happily living. And he would dance and he would clap and he would sway for the ladies. And his mother would ask, "Oh Nimai, why are you so restless? You've spoiled this Brahmin's offering. Now that you've eaten from this unknown Brahmin, how can you maintain your caste? How will you be proper in society? Who will even know who you are? What's happening?" All of the ladies ask, "Yes, Nimai. What answer do you have for this?" Nimai is a small boy, but they are asking him these societal questions. Nimai says, "Brahmin, I'm a cowherd boy. And so as a cowherd boy, I always eat from Brahmins. No problem." And this reminds us of Shri Krishna's wonderful pastime of accepting the offerings of the wives of the Brahmanas. Shri Krishna and all the cowherd boys are hungry. And so Shri Krishna says, there are some Brahmins doing a yajna. But you shouldn't mention my name, if anything. You can mention your names and you can mention Balaram's name, maybe not mine. The Brahmins refuse to give food to the boys, and so they go back to Krishna, feeling very sorry and very hungry still. Krishna says, no problem. Go to the wives of the Brahmanas. They will be willing to give you whatever you desire. And so Krishna is used to eating from Brahmanas. The Brahmins' wives go and they feed him, leaving beside everything, including their status. Their husbands say, if you leave this house, you leave this yajna, that is it. Don't come back even. The Brahmins' wives don't care for anything. They just go and offer their hearts to Krishna. And so Nimai says, I'm a cowherd boy. I always eat from Brahmins, there's no problem. And all of the ladies kind of laugh, thinking, listen to this child. Who does he think he is? What is happening? And so they say in this way, Nimai would go and he would sit on all the laps of the different ladies. And whoever's lap he was in, they would simply hold him and wish him never to leave their lap. Love of God is awakened in their hearts just by holding little Nimai. How priceless is this? So the Brahmin cooks again. He sets up everything for his offering. Once again, steeped in meditation, he closes his eyes and he begins to chant his Gopal mantra. Nimai, even though he was in the house of a neighbor, covers everyone with his Yogamaya potency, and they don't notice anything, but he leaves. He goes and he doesn't let anything stop him. There is no obstacle when the Supreme Lord wants what he wants. And so he goes, looks at the Brahman, looks at the deity, looks at the offering. Very good. Reaches his hand in, picks up a nice handful of rice, and he begins to eat it. The Brahmin opens his eyes again. Hi, oh no! Again, this has happened. Everyone comes running. Jagannath Mishra definitely wants to beat Nimai now. But they stop him again. Wait, don't beat him. Jagannath Mishra is saying, but the child is so restless, how will he learn? They say, how will he learn even if you beat him? Clearly, if he's been taken to a neighbor's house, he's been given a talking to, and he's been explained all of the right ways to act in society. If he still doesn't get it, what good will beating him do? Don't beat him now. The Brahmin says, no, it's okay. I'm renounced. I'm used to not eating very much. It's okay, I don't need to cook again. They said, please cook again. No, I've already cooked twice. It's not necessary. In comes Vishvarup, the elder brother of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is an expanded form even of Lord Nityananda. This is Lord Balaram. This is the beautiful potency of Shri Krishna. When the Brahmin sees this boy, all he can think is, who is this child? Whose son are you? Everyone says this is Jagannath Mishra's elder son, Vishvarup. He says, blessed are the parents that have you for a son. Vishvarup began to speak, and it sounded like all of the Vedic mantras put together. Oh Brahmin, I understand that my little brother has caused some confusion. He has caused some problem, but please make our lives successful and cook again. Once more. The Brahmin agrees. No problem. Once he sees Vishvarup, he happily agrees. And so they clean the kitchen again. They gather all the ingredients for cooking again. The Brahmin cooks again, and by this time it's nighttime. They think, what should we do? They say, oh, don't worry. Nimai's already asleep. But just to make sure, they take Nimai, sleeping Nimai, into another room. They lock the door. They tie it closed. They do all the things. Jagannath Mishra sits in front of the locked door. And then everyone falls asleep. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that they all fell asleep by the Yogamaya potency, as though Nidra Devi, the goddess of sleep, comes and brushes them gently with the tip of her sari. This is poetry. This is poetry. Like, amazing. So, they all fall asleep. Gently, into the deepest sleep that anyone has ever had. And the Brahmin sits, meditating on his Gopal mantra. And in walks little Nimai. Looks at the Brahmin. Looks at Gopal. Sees the offering. A locked door, with the door tied shut, with his father sitting in front of the door. Nothing stops Krishna when he wants what he wants. And so Nimai picks up a handful of rice and he begins to eat it. Brahmin opens his eyes and again, hi, oh no, alas, but no one can hear him. Everyone's asleep. Finally, Nimai says, oh Brahmin, why are you yelling? Why are you so angry? You've called me, so I've come. Brahmin says, what are you saying? What are you speaking about? He says, you've been calling me with your Gopal mantra so incessantly, so intensely. You've been offering me all of this food and calling me, oh my Lord, please simply come here and eat this rice. How could I not come? How could I not reciprocate with your service? How could I not overcome every obstacle just to be here with you? Don't you know who you are? Don't you remember? You have been chanting this mantra. You have been worshiping me for lifetimes. And now you are calling me. And now that I am here before you, you chastise me. Don't you remember? You've always desired to see me, and so here I am. At that time, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat says the Lord exhibited a wonderful 8-armed form to the Brahman. In 4 hands he held a conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower. In 1 hand he held a pot of butter from which he ate. With another, and then with 2 other hands he played a flute. He was decorated with the mark of Srivatsa, while the Kaustubha gem and a jeweled necklace hung on his chest. All of his limbs were decorated with jeweled ornaments. His head was decorated with a fresh garland of gunja seeds and a peacock feather. His moon-like face was beautified by red lips. The Lord smiled, and his eyes rolled from side to side. His Vaijayanti garland and shark-shaped earrings swayed to and fro. His lotus feet were adorned by jeweled ankle bells, and all darkness was dissipated by the shining of his toenails. The Brahmin also saw the abode of Vrindavan, filled with wonderful kadamba trees and the chirping of various birds. He saw cowherd boys and girls in all directions. Indeed, whatever he had meditated on, he saw manifest before him. Nimai said, don't you know we've been enacting this pastime again and again? Once, you even came as a Brahmin to the house of Nanda Maharaj, and I did the same thing. You've been calling me for lifetimes, and now I am here before you. Now I will always be here with you. Lord Gaurasundar, the ocean of mercy, then placed his lotus hand on the body of the Brahmin. By the touch of the Lord, the Brahmin regained his consciousness. Though in ecstasy, he remained inert and unable to speak. The Brahmin repeatedly fell unconscious to the ground and then got up in great jubilation. His body shivered and perspired, and his hair stood on end, and the flow of tears from his eyes resembled the Ganga river. The Brahmin caught hold of the Lord's lotus feet and began to cry loudly. So, he tells him, he says, in this way, you have been my servant birth after birth. For other than my servants, no one can see this form. I have thus disclosed to you confidential topics that should not be revealed to anyone under any condition. As long as I remain in this incarnation, you should not tell anyone the secrets that I have told you. Otherwise, I will kill you. I have incarnated to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement, and I will preach this process of chanting throughout the world. I will freely distribute the love and devotion that is desired by Brahma and others to each and every house. If you remain here for some time, you will see many such pastimes, but do not disclose these things to anyone. In this way, after mercifully pacifying the Brahman, Lord Gaurasundar then returned to his room. The Lord then returned to sleep as a child, and by the influence of Yoga Nidra, no one awoke. The Brahmin now was filled with happiness. Not only did he eat the rice, but he smeared it on his body, touched it to his head. He was putting rice everywhere. He was so excited. But then he heard that there were others who were waking up. He cleared the rice from his body and he washed his hands and composed himself, because he thought to himself, maybe I should tell them that the Supreme Lord is staying within their home. I should tell this Jagannath Mishra, do you know who your child is? Do you understand the gravity and the wonderfulness that is happening in your home? But then he did remember. The Lord warned him, you should tell no one, otherwise I'll kill you. It's a very strong promise. Fearing the chastisement of the Lord, he said nothing. He simply composed himself. And he made a big show of, thank you very much. I've completed my puja. Thank you. Been a wonderful host. And they say that that mendicant would go begging all around Navadvip. But every day, once a day, he would come to the house of Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata just to see little Nimai. His sweet Lord was none other than Bal Gopal. This, to me, really represents that we don't have to change our lives. We simply have to add Krishna. And adding Krishna is everything. Once we begin to add Krishna, even with whatever little service we can give, when we give it with our heart and soul, nothing will stop Krishna from reciprocating with us. Krishna will not allow any obstacle to stand in the way of him reciprocating with us, of him giving us his mercy. So on days like Ekadashi, we can accept some austerity, and we can perform some small little austerity. It is nothing compared to the austerities that even demons have performed. But we can perform it with love. And we will know for certain that nothing will stop Krishna from reciprocating with us. When all we have to do is accept a little austerity with love and chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Gaura Chandra ki jai, Shri Radha Murlidhara ki jai, Shri Ekadashi Titi ki jai.
Achita Gopi Devidasi ki jai. Yes, there may be a demon out there who's better at austerities than Bhima Prabhu. But Bhima Prabhu does his little austerity with love. And there's nothing standing in the way between Bhima Prabhu and Krishna, reciprocating with him and his forces. And same goes for Adipusha Prabhu, Krishna Daya Prabhu, Jeffrey Eckler Prabhu, Susan, Manasi Agarwal, Andrea, Henry Prabhu, Bruce Prabhu, Suzanne, Bhakta Hugo, U.S. Navy, Dana Kelly Prabhu, Leslie, Dana Krishna's Radharani. Krishna is reciprocating with you. Amrita Kishori Didi, Prema Vinodini, Pink Yogi of Harlem. Krishna knows who you are, Pink Yogi, by the way. We don't know, but Krishna knows. Ananda Manjari Didi, Adam Prabhu, Krishna Kumari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari, good to see you. Kriti Chaturvedi, thank you, Chita Gopi, Devidasi, great class, very hope-giving, and very entertaining also. Transcendental entertainment. You are a transcendental entertainer.
Thank you.
So much more than that. Yeah. Thank you. So, would anyone like to reflect or ask a question? Now is the time. We're going over time. It's fine. We're beyond rules and regulations.
It's Friday.
Back to you, Yeah, Friday.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for offering your time and energy for such a wonderful class. This is a really wonderful glorification and preparation for Gaurapurni. Very, very sweet stories. I wonder if we were offering our prashadam one day and we actually found it half eaten on our altar, would we recognize Krishna in our lives? That's an interesting question. I'm also thinking on your last point how Krishna doesn't allow any obstacle to stop him from reciprocating with his devotee. Srila Prabhupada would often encourage his disciples that because you are serving me so nicely, because you are serving Krishna so nicely, Krishna has to reciprocate with you. Just like you said, bhakti physics. So it's not even a choice on Krishna's part. He sees that loving devotion and he just goes, oh, I'm being called. And he's ready to appear in our lives. So very beautiful. Thank you.
Jai, thank you. What a beautiful reflection. Thank you so much.
Even if Krishna handles you roughly, Bhakti Hugo, it's still an act of love and reciprocation from Krishna.
I don't like that one, but yeah. You ever feel like those days you're like, ooh, I'm really being handled roughly? Is this the embrace?
Okay, unmute yourself, dear devotees. Come on now. Let's reciprocate. This class was about reciprocation. Let's practice that. Even if you handle us, even if you handle us roughly, and just give us a blank face, we're comfortable. We're comfortable. I see Adipusha with blank face. Would you like to glorify Krishna, Adipusha? You have to unmute yourself. Unmute, Adi. Come on.
Just got a little something going on. Dome is taking over Evangel service because Evangel went to visit her mother in Taiwan. So it's a gigantic service this morning. Was making banana bread and icing and salad dressing and drink for Krishna's prasad distribution. They're starting the kitchery, and she called me this morning and she was like kind of overwhelmed, you know. So Jayananda, Bhakti Raphael, and Angel and I all went over to the kitchen at like 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning. We all walked in. She was like, "Whoa." And everybody ran in there, started putting on aprons, and everybody's over there doing service now. So we're going to pick it up from there. But it's kind of like Krishna reciprocating with that tiny cry from help that she was like, she took on something that was very difficult and cooking for hundreds of people. And then Krishna sent, all four of us walked into the kitchen with aprons. She kind of flipped out. And Krishna sent the reinforcements. I got to run over there now. But anyway, just kind of a minute. All right, Krishna, go to Prabhupada.
Jai.
Thank you, Adi.
Isn't that something? These are the modern day pastimes. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur would often write about modern day pastimes. And he would write about them during kirtans, etc. But these are the modern day pastimes in our lives when we can really see that Krishna actually reciprocates. What would have happened had the sages of Naimisharanya not actually called for help? What would have happened if Parikshit Maharaj wouldn't have been honest enough to say, I have no idea what I'm doing. And my life is gonna end in 7 days and I have no idea what to do at this point. I need somebody to help me. And then thousands and thousands of sages come. What would have happened had these great personalities not actually called for help? And so sometimes we feel that it makes us weak, but actually it can call in the biggest blessing, not just for us, but for all of future devotees, when we are honest about where we're stuck and when we call for help.
Yes, it shouldn't go. Take up some service, cry for help. That's what we do. Ananda Manjari.
Hare Krishna. I wanted to reflect a point that I found to be so profound, which is the point of like, why do we even say that we cleanse the mirror of our hearts? What does it even mean to see our hearts as mirrors or of a potential for mirrors? And I feel in my body that it's just like there's so much more that needs to be understood there, and I'm not grasping it, and I'm just feeling extremely grateful to have been given this image to ponder about and to even think about like, I know in my logical mind that Krishna is all attractive, and only the reason why I don't experience his beauty everywhere is just because the mirror of my heart is yet to be truly uncovered, and to even imagine what it would mean to live in a world where my mirror is actually clean enough for the Lord to see himself, and what it would mean to even in our communities and the entire global community of actually allowing Krishna to reflect in our hearts and in the hearts of others. And so that is just such a potent message, and I'm just really grateful that you brought it.
It is wondrous and almost like hard to believe. You know, Krishna wants to use my dirty mirror to see himself. And then the holy name comes as a friend. Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes within Harinam Chintamani, the holy name arrives as the best friend. Because the holy name will come and do the work of cleansing the mirror when we feel like we can't. When we feel like I don't even know which direction to start in. The holy name will arrive, cleanse the mirror, and then install Krishna as the deity in the heart. It's completely amazing how dependent we are on divine mercy, but how accessible that divine mercy is. The only thing standing in our way is us. Our minds that say, you can't do that. Our minds that say, you're not eligible. You're not ready. You're not qualified. We never will be. There is no qualification that we could possibly have that could make us ready, except the determination, the intense desire, and just that little bit of faith. That faith that, no, this will work. This is going to work. Somehow or other, when babies walk and they fall, they don't give up. They have some sort of inbuilt faith that they see other people walking around, this should work. And then they have that determination. It will work, and so then it does. And bhakti is the same for us. We should see that there are other people that are traversing this path of bhakti. It works. It must work. And when we have that faith, it will.
Achira Gopi, that was a mic drop speech. You should drop your computer.
I have a mic. I can drop that. It's a big mic.
Yeah, drop that. Yeah. Push that off the table. Okay. All right. Yeah, it was wonderful. You know, a lot of nectar comes up during the Q&A. That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
So if we can take one more, dear devotees. Jennifer Jewel, what's your reflection? Are you in the office?
Oh, hi, Hare Krishna. You know, I am so sorry. I picked up right at the end. I'm in Nashville, so I'm on Central Time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I missed it. So my reflection is that so I'm always late. I can't getting it. But I want it, though I'm late.
Yes.
But I show up. So I showed up, though I'm late. But I hope to receive the mercy.
I think that's the best thing to focus on. I want it and I show up. That's it. That's literally the perfect formula for God consciousness and receiving divine love in our lives. I want it and I show up. I don't know when I'm going to show up, but I'm going to show up and I really, really want it. And that's all we need. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Jennifer is not bringing her ego into this. She's just, okay, I'm late, so I'm not going to go. I don't want people to see that I'm late. There's no ego. I'm late, but I'm here. I'm available. Nothing is standing in the way. Not even Central Time. Krishna will reciprocate. Thank you, Jennifer. Very inspiring reflection. Krishna Kumari, we briefly saw your bright face. Can you turn the camera on again, please, briefly? Maybe say something?
Hare Krishna. I'm late for work. But I wanted to share with you, I've been struggling immensely with food addiction for many years, and I can remember a time in Mayapur where I was totally free. And so yesterday, my husband was telling me, just go for hypnotherapy. I finally went. And she had me go into this safe place, and my safe place was Mayapur. And I had to feel all the things I felt: my freedom, my smiling face, the Navadvip Dambasis were so beautiful. And then at the end, before she even told me to, she's like, is somebody giving you a message? And it was Mahaprabhu, and he was telling me, when you share yourself, you're sharing me.
Thank you, Krishna Kumari. Very heartfelt message. Thank you.
I love you, Achyuta. I love you, Jennifer. I love you. Hare Krishna, thank you for hosting this.
And so brave. It is so brave to come in front of devotees and say, this is my struggle. This is what I got. And that's the beginning of all of this. This is exactly what Maharaj Parikshit did. This is my struggle. This is who I am. And it's such a brave thing to do. So I applaud you for that bravery on this Ekadashi, because it is immense, and I know it does not go unseen or unappreciated. I know that I appreciate it, and Krishna also appreciates it, so thank you.
Yeah, we say to Krishna, Krishna, I'm yours. Mistakes, whatever it is, I'm here. I offer myself to you as I am. Let's see how I can serve you and help push on Lord Chaitanya's movement. And Krishna will reciprocate, like Mataji just said, it's true. How wonderful, Krishna.
Thank you, yeah. Krishna, Adi Purusha Prabhu is yours. Take him as he is.
Mm-hmm.
Take us also. Okay,
Jai.
thank you very much. We're going to wrap it up. The devotees' blessings.
Jai.
Thank you very much. We're going to wrap it up. The devotees' blessings. That's our fuel in spiritual life. When we share openly in the association, that's our fuel in spiritual life. When we share openly in the association of the devotees, then we get their blessings. And then good things become possible with devotees' blessings. So thank you very much for blessing us by coming to this class so regularly, by giving class regularly at the Gopi. Thank you. All right. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, happy Ekadashi. Don't break it prematurely. And it was nice seeing you all. Hari, Hari, Bol. Hare Krishna.
Well, glorious to Prabhupada.
Jai.